So welcome to this week's video. We've come back over to the Isle of Harrison Lewis and we're currently stood at a viewpoint that I've been wanting to come to probably for about 4 or 5 years since seeing a picture of Mangersta Sea Stacks, and wow, it doesn't disappoint. We're about an hour and a half away from sunset. We've had some nice light, probably a little bit too harsh, just casting over the stacks and taking a few images that I'm probably going to change into black and white. But just now, the cloud is very fine tonight. It's been absolutely roasting hot today, probably maybe 20 degrees, 25 degrees, but the wind has picked up. Like I say, we've got some very fine cloud just above the cliffs and a little bit in the sky. The sun's going to set to my right and hopefully, fingers crossed, we might just get some soft golden light across the sea stacks. High tide is going to be around 11 o'clock tonight, and at the moment the sea is so calm. Even though it's windy, the sea is so calm, there's hardly a ripple. Normally you get a lot of white around the base of the stacks, and there's hardly anything. We've not got any rolling waves, there's nothing. It's just very calm, which is unusual. Whether that sort of changes a little bit the nearer we get to high tide. So sunset's 10:30, high tide is around 11 o'clock. So yeah, it's just a privilege to be back on the island and an absolute dream to be stood looking at these sea stacks.
So we spent most of the day walking around the cliffs, taking in the views and trying to figure out what the best compositions would be. It was absolutely fantastic to hear the sound of the birds just flying in and out of the cliffs.
So it's probably been about an hour since we last spoke to you, and during that time nothing much has happened. It's absolutely beautiful. The light isn't going to happen, so we've got the sun just going down through hazy sort of clouds, which is going to prevent any nice golden side light coming onto the stacks, which is such a shame. The tide again sort of isn't crashing in. We were just speaking to a couple actually that were here last night and said that the tide was a little bit more ferocious, a little bit more movement in that water last night, and it's even calmer again tonight. Maybe it's because the weather's been so fine today, but that wind is still picking up a little bit. So the good thing is that we have got some nice fine cloud, but it's just whether the sun is going to be enough to light this up. We've been experimenting a bit with some shots, so maybe doing sort of some exposures around a minute and some around sort of 15 seconds just to see the difference. I think the ones that are a little bit longer are smoothing the water out a little bit more. So I feel that from this spot it's probably the best in terms of composition, because the sea stack directly in the middle just lines up from here. So if you walk a little bit further round, it starts cutting into the stacks on either side. There is a sea stack closer to us on the right hand side that does cut into the rock behind, and unless you sort of fire across that other way, you don't get any separation. So I think in terms of compositions, it probably is the best spot to try and get that central sea stack in the middle. I think what we might do is go and take a little wander. We saw a shot earlier on today. We actually was here for around 2 hours at around 1 o'clock today, just having a look and checking out sort of the area and a few little spots. And this morning we actually went down to Mangersta Beach, which is absolutely beautiful, but I think the tide tonight wouldn't have just been quite right for the... So here we are. So yeah, I think we'll take a little wander, go and see if we can sort of pick out another shot that we saw earlier, just to see if it works or not with the light. We'll wait, I think, until till sunset, which is around 40 minutes off yet, and just see whether any of this lights or not. But wow.
So this was a dream location, one that we'd wanted to visit for many, many years. And I think the expectation versus reality can sometimes be a little disappointing. You build up a picture in your mind of how you want it to look, how you'd like it to look, what conditions you'd like to have. And although we did get some nice light on the sea stacks, the sea itself was far too calm. There was very little cloud in the sky. I think these images work better in black and white because they are a little bit more contrasty. We enjoyed the day, and it was great to see the sea stacks at long last. It's a day that we'll repeat later in the year when hopefully the conditions are a little bit more adverse with some moody, dramatic clouds.
So we just walked around a little bit, and this is one of the viewpoints that we eyed up earlier on. Now, from this side, obviously, the sea stacks do cut into each other, so you don't get any separation between the one that was in the middle just further round and this one that almost looks like it's got two little ears on the top. So I think what is quite nice about this is it's just a different viewpoint. We've got some nice little sea thrift growing just on the edge of the cliff here. And what I do quite like about this shot is that you've almost got the curve of the little bay just below, and using that polarizer allows you to just cut through that water and see some of the stones underneath, which just looks beautiful on the back of the camera. We are now just getting a very faint tinge of almost pink in the sky. Just sort of across there looks absolutely beautiful. You've almost got that pink in the sky with the turquoise water. Just looks lovely, and I'm tempted to try and maybe go and take a shot across there. So yeah, I mean it's been a sort of uneventful evening, but an evening that we've dreamt of for years and years. Like I say, the image that I saw from here around 4 years ago just made my jaw drop, and always wanted to come and see them. So what we'll do is we'll pop a couple of shots up for you, let you have a look. Reviewed a few of the images, and maybe the light was a little bit harsh earlier, but as I say, I'm probably going to change them into black and white just to see how they look. I think they'll be a bit more contrasty. So yeah, we'll go and take a walk, and we'll catch up with you soon.
So just right before sunset, when we had that beautiful pink hue in the sky, we did get a softer feel across the stacks. The sky still didn't light up, but we did manage to get a little bit of colour. This shot in particular I quite like, as it shows the bay and the colour of the water.
So we decided to come over the little fence and make our way just to the edge here, just to see the sunset. And although I can't find a composition because we're rushing, to be fair, in and amongst these rocks, what I've done is I've put the 70-200 lens on, and to give me a little bit of extra reach, I've put it into crop sensor and just focused in just on the setting sun with beautiful pink sky. And as I mentioned, with that turquoisey water, just looks beautiful. Probably not much more to say other than that, really. Maybe it would have been nice to try and get a nice foreground, but it just looks lovely. Just simple, a simple shot, just with the sun setting. There wasn't really much going on at the sea stacks, which was a shame, but absolutely superb to see this. I'm going to grab one last shot just before the sun disappears below the horizon. It's just sitting. So yeah, I'll take this shot and we'll put the images up for you. So we've just actually seen a little pod of dolphins just swimming past and tried to get it on video, but wasn't quick enough. Nothing spectacular tonight. I mean, this view here with this colour and the sun setting was just unreal. Apologies if it's windy. We battled against that a little bit tonight. But yeah, it's just been nice little evening. A couple of nice little images from a place that we've always wanted to come to.
Yeah.
You know, it will be somewhere we come back to hopefully later this year with maybe a bit more inclement weather would be nice. Stormy weather, yeah. So hope you've enjoyed the video and some of the images from this evening. We have probably got far too many places that that we want to try and get in 3 days. So just nice to be back. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Take care. We'll see you next week. Adios.